Ages. It's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. It's me, Coach Muddle, along with Nevada Nick. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing good, Coach. Excited. We're a little more than 48 hours away, so looking forward to it.
I'm real excited. I've been can't wait for Thursday night. Apologies to everyone expecting us to be on last night. Nevada Nick has his duties to do. He couldn't get his work finished fast enough. He's in high demand. What can I tell you? Right. So he's got that going on, and so we're into that. But we've got a lot to get to today as we get into getting ready for Thursday, warm up for Thursday. I know Nick and I we were talking off the air about some stuff. Now, just so you know, we're not we're going to do a little mock draft tonight. Probably not going to go through the whole first round. Probably At least down to the Eagles, maybe to 15, maybe. And same with Thursday night. I don't know how long we're going to stay on after the Eagles pick. I know we have a ton of Raider fans that watch and Ravens, and those guys are later in the drafts, but we're going to play it by ear. So let's just put it that way. So we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to jump right in. Were you surprised with the trade with the Ravens and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I was. I get it from the Ravens standpoint. Basically, Orlando Brown, obviously, his father also played for the Ravens. If you remember, he was the guy who the referee hit in the eye with the flag.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he was a good left tackle. But he had said his dad passed away, but he had said he promised his dad he'd pay left tackle. And what happened was, obviously, Ronnie Stanley gets hurt this year, and they bump Orlando Brown to left tackle. And let's be honest, I'm sure the thing with his father's part of it, but another bigger reason, left tackle gets paid way more than right tackle. That's the premier position on the offensive line. So, and look, he's going to be due for a contract, I believe, after this year. So, he wants to play left tackle and get paid like a left tackle. So he asked for the Ravens for a trade, and they obviously, obliged and did the trade. I'm just surprised. You're the Ravens. To me, you're in the upper echelon of the AFC. You trade them to the Chiefs, where, right. To me, the team who's won the AFC the last 2 years, and now with this trade, is the overwhelming favorite to win the AFC again. Look, they pick up – if you watch that Super Bowl, what you did, Coach, we all said what was the biggest problem, that offensive line. Mm-hmm. They did have some injuries, but now you go get one of the best guards in Joe Thuney, and you have a 24-year-old two-time Pro Bowl left tackle to put on that offensive line. And, man, the Chiefs are just a Pro Bowl team, it seems like now. And from that standpoint, I don't get it, from the Ravens trading to the Chiefs. I would have tried to trade them to the NFC, maybe call up a team like the Eagles, or even maybe a team like the Dolphins, who maybe you think aren't quite there yet, but you can grab that 18th spot instead of, obviously, the Chiefs are drafting in the back end of the first round. I would have tried something like that. And, I think they got a first, a third, and a fourth or a fifth, and then a pick next year. They got a lot of compensation, but still, I would not have traded them to the Chiefs. A player like that's going to get you compensation. I would have honestly took a little less to not send them to the Chiefs and make the Chiefs better and trade them to a team that maybe isn't as in competition with you as much.
Right. I agree. I would have been calling all the NFC teams and whatnot to see if I could unload them there before I went with the Chiefs. Especially that the road to the Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead, and you're going to have to play them. So that to me was something else. So surprised.
From the Chiefs standpoint, I get it. You needed a tackle. But what I don't understand is you have all these guys you got to pay. I mean, look, I agree with what they did. I will take a known commodity every day of the week over taking a flyer on these first-round picks.
Right.
But my thing is, Coach, with those first-round picks, you get that rookie deal. Now, they're going to have to pay Orlando Brown, and I'm just wondering whoever the cap guy for the Chiefs is, man, I want the Eagles to bring him in because you're paying Mahomes $500 million. You're paying Kelsey, highest paid tight end in the league. Hill's top 5 receiver in the league. Now you gave Joe Tooney $80 million. Brown's going to have to get a contract after this year unless they move him. Chris Jones got a $100 million contract. Tyrann Mathieu got paid well, and so did Frank Clark. Where's all this fitting in the cap? I just don't know how a team like that can have all those contracts unless you got some kind of wizard.
Well, you got to remember that Mahomes is spread out over 12 years, 10 years, something like that.
But it's coming into fact in the next year or two, though, where it's still going to take a big jump from that rookie deal.
Right. I know, and I don't know. I know there's some ways you can finagle the cap because of what happened with COVID and everything. I know they're able to finagle because I asked the same thing about the Giants. What's up with how do they fit all these guys under the cap that they signed? Yeah. What's up there, cornhole champ?
The cornhole champ. I'll tell you, he had the fantasy champ, cornhole champ, prop champ. I mean, we're going to get him.
Champ. He's champ with everything, man.
We're going to have to get him the WWE belt so he can just walk into work with it from now on. You know what I mean? Got trophies galore in that house.
Yep, unbelievable, man. He's just a walking trophy.
Yeah. So, but no, I think it's a great move, obviously, for the Chiefs. You're getting. I mean, how many 24-year-old 2-time Pro Bowl left tackles are there out there,
Right.
And he's a big boy, too. And he's just, I mean, in college, and this is the one thing, Coach, that I can't stand. So he didn't get drafted as high as they thought in college because he ran a slow 40. But on tape, he played at Oklahoma. He gave up one sack in his career there. And it's just like, I don't understand why they're so ho-hum. I get you want to see some of these things for receivers and all, but a lineman and most of those guys, interior and defensive linemen, show me the tape. Don't you agree? Let me see what they do on film. That's what I'd want to see. That stuff's all nice, especially I get it when you're talking about corners and receivers. You want to see the speed they have, but it too. There's a lot of difference from running with in shorts and t-shirts and then putting those pads on and running like that. So I mean, it's a big difference. But Orlando Brown fell, and he gets drafted later. But the guy's a stud, and I think the Chiefs are going to be they got to be the team to beat the AFC. And really, to me, I think you're going into a year where I really felt the last few years it was kind of wide open. And to me, I think you have two prohibitive or whatever the word is. Big favorites.
Perennial. Yeah.
Perennial. Or no, perennial is not the word. Prohibitive or whatever it is, favorites in the Bucs and the Chiefs. Because I just think the Bucs really don't have any weaknesses. They're drafting more for depth and maybe for the future. Maybe you draft a QB to, because Tom Brady probably has 2 years left. I don't know. Maybe you get a defensive lineman like you talked about off air because you do got Sue and JPP who are getting older. But nice luxury when you're just drafting for depth instead of need, because a lot of teams are out there drafting for need.
Oh, absolutely. And, and then just to go across the state of Pennsylvania I think Pittsburgh's in a world of trouble right now. I mean, you had your center retired. Now your right tackle retired. Your left tackle is gone off free agency, and your running back is left via free agency. So what are you going to do? I think everything's out the door if I'm Pittsburgh and I got to draft a lineman. And they're in that kind of that sweet spot where the linemen, I think, are besides Purnell, the Oregon kid, the kid from Northwestern, and the Virginia Tech. Those three kids might go a little bit sooner, but there's
there's a lot. Look, Kevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State, Dylan. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's R from North Dakota State. There's a lot of tackles out there, so that's where I would go. there's a lot of people who have the Steelers possibly taking Najee Harris or Clifford.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
And look, man, I never understood that because to me, I don't care if you got the best running back in football. If you don't have a line to block for him, how much can he do? So get the line first, and then to me, the running back, Stiz's head is getting pretty damn big. Yeah. But no, the running back is interchangeable. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There's some running backs that are better than others. But if you got a good line, man, like, come on. You could have probably put me behind that Cowboys line, and I would have got 4 yards, back in the 90s, and I would have got 4 yards of carry.
Because you were still under 10 seconds in your 40 time at that point.
9.5 flat. You know what I mean? 9.5 minutes, I'm saying. But no. I just think the Steelers. I really think, first of all, the biggest mistake, my opinion, going into this year was bringing Big Ben back. I think you needed to go in another direction. Just to start it, because now I just don't think they have the team this year. I mean, look how much that offense struggled down the stretch last year. Now you lose James Conner, Villanueva, Pouncey, and, their other tackle. So you lose 4 of your starters. And, so this year they probably struggle. And then now next year you got a huge question mark at quarterback. So it's almost like you're starting over. And I would have tried to, do that process this year, whether it was bringing in Teddy Bridgewater or Jameis Winston or whomever, but, draft one of these kids.
But you got a kid there already in the kid from Ohio State. You have him there basically for free. Haskins. He's there for free. Haskins.
I know.
But you know what? If you put him now, you don't have an offensive line. You don't have a lot of things for him now. So I don't know how that would be.
Coach too. And I know he's a savvy veteran, but Dwayne Haskins couldn't beat out Alex Smith. I mean, Alex Smith was much better than him. And look, he's young. Maybe you can, get his head in the right direction and get him playing. But to me personally, I just don't see it. I think they're going to need to go in another direction. And I agree with Stiz. If I'm a running back, I'm hoping I don't get drafted from Pittsburgh. Because look how much they struggled to run the ball last year.
Right.
And, now you lose all these linemen. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm going, offensive line. And, I kind of like it. Stiz, I'm kind of curious to see what you think. I actually like Snell a little bit. If you get a good line in front of him. I'm not saying he's an every down back, but I like Snell. But you need to get him a line. And I'm sure you can find a running back in the second or third round. I would not go first round and go. Don't get me wrong, I do like Najee Harris, but I think there's more pressing needs for the Steelers on that offensive line than to go grab a running back that early.
I agree. Absolutely. With that, I think you definitely got to go offensive line if you're Pittsburgh. So, so we'll see how it all plays out Thursday night. Hopefully everybody will join us on Thursday. Make sure you tell your friends. I appreciate everybody sharing it out there, getting a lot of likes, growing our page. We appreciate it.
Right.
So make sure you keep that up. Go over to YouTube, subscribe, and make sure you ring the bell so you know when we're putting up some new content.
Yeah.
So
now there was another trade too. Did you hear about that trade, Coach?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say now, which surprised me because and of course he was a bust with the Giants. Not that I like to toot my own horn, but again, I'm going to toot my own horn because I said they needed to move Flowers into guard and let him play some guard. He went down as a free agent into Washington. They moved him into guard. He played really well and got himself a big contract in Miami.
3 years, $30 million.
Right. But he's going to have to take a salary cap hit. So they traded him back to Washington. And Washington also traded 7th-round picks, I believe.
I think they flopped late-round picks or something like that.
Yeah. I think it was they both 7th-round picks. And
so that shows you his value.
Right. So but it's still he's got 2 years left and $20 million. So he's getting a nice payday. So
I'll tell you, I really think this is going to be one of the more interesting drafts. I really do, because I think we know 1 and 2 we're pretty sure of. But I think when you get to 3, there's so many rumors going out there that they, obviously there's been rumors last week that, Justin Fields may be the guy. Obviously the most has been Mac Jones. And then, over the last 24 hours, it's down to Mac Jones or Trey Lance. I think now I'm pretty confident it's going to be Mac Jones. Curious to see what happens though. But man, after that, really 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's get wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a real tough year to do a mock draft because I could see it going a lot of ways, and I could see these teams going multiple positions. And what's going to happen with these quarterbacks? Because obviously we know 3 are going to go in the top 3, obviously. But then other than that, it's going to be real curious. And Stiz, great point. I was just going to bring that up.
Rid of that.
Atlanta's phone is ringing because they are looking for Julio. But also, too, they got that 4th pick that if you want to guarantee yourself that quarterback you want, if it's, let's say Mac Jones goes to 3, okay? If you do want Justin Fields or Trey Lance, Atlanta's the team that can guarantee you that pick. Obviously, Cincinnati's not going to go quarterback, but I think they're going to stay. I don't think they're moving. I think they want Sewell or Jamar Chase, from LSU, who Joe Burrow's played with. So don't think they're going to move. Don't think Miami's going to move. But still, the Falcons have a lot of juice tomorrow because they got that 4th pick.
Absolutely.
And, it's Stiz. I'm curious to see what happens with Julio Jones if he does get moved. What kind of compensation are you looking at? Because to me, if I'm the Falcons, if I don't get at least a 2, I'm not moving him. I understand you're moving big money, but Julio Jones is still a top, what would you say, Stiz, top 5, top 10 receiver, still a playmaker.
Now, he got hurt, but this was the first year that he's had less than 1,300 yards receiving. So, that should tell you right there that, he's a true number 1. He's the guy.
Yeah, can you put up what Tilted Haggis said? Look, and you're right. Fields is falling like crazy, and there's some people, and I think this is a real possibility of him falling, him or Trey Lance. Which one of those 2 falls? The Patriots rolling up and grabbing one of them, and I think that would be a huge win for New England, because they need to get their quarterback. And don't be surprised if New England doesn't get their QB. Don't be surprised if maybe they don't call the old Niners up and give them a 2nd-round pick possibly for Jimmy G. I think that's also a possibility because I really do think Bill Belichick wants to leave this weekend and have some idea of who his quarterback of the future may be. So real curious what happens there. And, it's going to be very interesting. You want to start going into the picks?
Sure, and I'm not buying the hype with New England and moving around with the quarterback. I'm not.
He could fall too, not to 15, but he could fall to 10 or below, and then they move up. Okay,
I'm not a buyer in that. Okay. I'm not, because there is a great crop of 2nd-tier quarterbacks, and Bill Belichick loves to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
No, I know.
And I think he's going to take a Trask or a Mons or one of those guys and make.
I like Mons.
I
think Mons is a player. Now, Coach, the one thing you got to look at though too, after you get out of 8 and 9, 8's the Panthers, 9 is the Broncos.
Right.
Unless somebody jumps in front of the Patriots, 10's the Cowboys. 11 is your Giants, 12 is my Eagles, 13 is the Chargers, 14 is the Vikings. If those teams stay put, none of those teams are taking a QB. So if a Justin Fields or Lance drops past 8 or 9, they could drop right into 15 and the Patriots' lap. So imagine if they don't have to trade anything and it drops to their lap. I don't see that happening, but that would really play in Bill Belichick's hands as well. And Kevin said, They don't. Stiz is right about that. Patriots don't take QBs early. Kevin said Julio had 95 yards a game and killed the Haggis. Bill does, but Bill also does not really spend money. Yeah.
I don't think he's in panic mode. Look,
he had a real. He spent more money than he never does. I wouldn't say it's panic mode, but I would say there's more pressure to Bill than there's ever been. He saw what Brady did, and I think he knows they needed to make some moves. I don't agree with paying the tight ends all the money they paid him. Giving Jonnu Smith $50 million for 50 catches and 500 yards,
right?
Didn't get. I actually agree. I wouldn't call it panic mode, but I think he felt the pressure and that pressure to return them back to a winning team.
I agree with that, and I think really it's more of the QB. I don't think that I don't call it panic mode at all, but I think Bill gets guys based on what he sees they can do a specific thing, and sometimes you just throw those numbers out the door because he does one thing that Bill needs him to do really well, and that's what he's looking at. That one thing. So we'll see. But definitely, you want to jump in with, I think we both agree on the first two picks of the draft.
Right. Quick point, too, on the Patriots, Coach. Belichick's going to be old school with it, too. Look, people forget, but they had a bunch of guys like Dante Hightower and other players who opted out last year, too.
Sorry.
I'm a bit biased as a Jets fan, so I'm going to pump. Okay.
So it's okay that you're a dumpster fire. We'll give you a cup of water to put on your dumpster fire.
Look, as a Jets fan, I'll tell you this. Look, man, I'm a big Joe Douglas guy. I'm an Eagles fan. He's a good GM, and the way he's accumulating picks for the Jets, if they can hit some of these picks, they're headed in the right directions. And that's one franchise. When New York football teams are good, it's good for the league. Much like we're seeing in basketball. We'll talk about the Knicks later. But right. Knicks being – and even LeBron said it the other day. Knicks being good is good for basketball. Yankees, and Mets being good is good for baseball. Jets and Giants being good is good for the NFL. That's just a fact. But, look, no, in regards to the Patriots, they're going to play defense and run the ball. That's why he's building that line back up, trying to get a QB in there. They're going to run the ball. And when you look at their last Super Bowl where they beat the Rams, don't get me wrong, having Brady's great. But it was more the running game and defense than Tom Brady. But look, don't get me wrong, when you get to the big games, there's nobody better to have than Tom Brady because he just doesn't make those big mistakes. But, yeah, let's get into, obviously, the draft here. The first two we know. I mean, it's going to be Lawrence, number 1 to the Jags.
Right.
And then
Wilson number 2.
Number 2 to the Jets. Obviously, there was some question to that with the Jets, but then when they traded Darnold, that pretty much
Billy, you're late to the party, buddy. You're late to the party with Julio Jones, buddy. We already talked about it, bro. Come on,
Billy,
man.
he's not coming to the Eagles. Keep dreaming. He's hoping they go to another bird, and that isn't happening. From the Falcons to the Eagles. I'm curious, but put what you think. Where you think Julio Jones may land. Spots for him I see the Niners don't have much compensation left after the trade they just made, but I think that would be a nice spot. San Francisco, a receiver like that would really fit in nice as a weapon for that quarterback. I just don't know what the Niners could give up. So let's start, obviously, with the Niners, Coach, in that 3 pick. I think, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think the pick's Mac Jones. I mean, I like Mac Jones. He's probably the smartest of the quarterbacks, does the right thing with the ball. But I like the movement of Justin Fields. Let's not forget, they run a lot of play action, a lot of movement in that 49ers offense. But I think Mac Jones is the pick. I just think Lance or Justin Fields might have been the better fit because of their athletic ability. But I think Mac Jones is the pick. Who do you got?
Actually, I think that it's Trey Lance.
Okay.
I think they're going to go with Trey Lance. I think they're going to, because of the athleticism, I think they're going to swing for the fence and go with him, I think. Because he is athletic, he can do that. And, he will fit. He will fit that system. He'll fit in. And I don't care who they pick out of the 3 guys. I think will have success in that system.
Yeah. Well, and Kilded Haggis say he thinks they go Lance over Jones. But the one thing about the Niners, too, and you see it with Jimmy G. They don't ask so much of their quarterback. Let's not forget that NFC Championship game where he threw the ball 9 times.
Right.
They run the football, they play defense, and then they have the play-action pass. So you're not asking too much of the quarterback. I mean, if you remember, Coach, when they play the Chiefs, I said, and I'm not trying – like you said, you don't want to toot your own horn. Well, I'm going to toot my own. I said that Jimmy G was going to need to make a play in the fourth quarter and wouldn't be able to. And that's exactly what happened. He had a guy for a touchdown to maybe seal that game or change that game, and he couldn't make the throw. And that's why I think, you're seeing – and look, I think you look at Shanahan, and he's saying, man, I had a 28-3 lead with the Falcons and blew it. I had my 10-point lead with the Niners. He needs to go and get his QB. So, but look, they don't ask too much of their quarterback. So one of these kids, man, you can't ask for a better position to go into. Because a lot of these kids – it's not as much talent as it is situation. And when you go to the Niners, you're going to a good situation, whatever quarterback it is, and I think it's going to be Mac Jones.
Okay. All right. Who do you got for the Bengals
Falcons.
Next? Oh, Falcons. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Where do the Falcons go here?
Everything seems to be pointing towards I would go probably offensive line, but if they're looking at trading Julio Jones, and maybe, Calvin Ridley's a very good receiver. I'm wondering if they're not going to go with Kyle Pitts and think they're getting, maybe overall the most talented guy in the draft. So I'm going to go. I think they're going to go Kyle Pitts at 4.
I agree with that. I agree. He is my outside of the quarterbacks. He's my number 1 player in the draft. So
yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, and look, I think he's going to come in and really, I mean, he's going to be dominant. He's got a very good chance of being Rookie of the Year, especially going into that Falcons offensive system. Curious why you would trade Julio, because to me, you bring Julio in. Can you imagine Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts? How do you defend that, Coach?
Right.
How do you defend that? When you're a defensive coordinator, how do you defend that? I mean, look, I wouldn't want to be that defensive coordinator coming up with that game plan against that offense. But yeah, I think Pitts is the pick. If not, it's definitely going to be offensive line. Now we're going to get to the Bengals, Coach. Right. And I had always thought it was going to be offensive line. Burrows tears his ACL. You want to protect him. There are some rumors that they may go receiver and get Chase, who played with Burrows at LSU. Right. But look, man, to me, if you're a smart guy, you got to protect your QB. You need that offensive line.
Absolutely.
And look, I wouldn't be surprised if they take Chase, but I'm going to go with, if you're a smart GM, you're taking Penny Sewell out of Oregon and having him play left tackle and protect your quarterback's blind side for Joe Burrows.
I agree with that 100%. That's where I was going. That's with that. Absolutely.
Okay. And then when you get to the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins covet Pitts. I really do.
You might be right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Right.
But there is a chance they go Chase. And this is how draft boards get nuts, because people go where you don't think they're going to go. And like I said, the Dolphins, I think when they initially went to 6, I think they thought they had a good chance of still getting Pitts.
Right.
And there's a chance that they go to 6 and they don't get Pitts or Chase. And I think those are the 2 guys they want.
Right.
Now, obvious with Sewell going, I think if it's that, the Dolphins will go Jamar Chase and take him.
I agree with that.
They need to give Tua players. Everybody kind of was hard on Tua, but he didn't have much with the Dolphins. They do need some line help, but I think they'll address that maybe at pick 18.
Yeah,
I think you'll see them take an offensive lineman at 18. But yeah, I'm going to go. Jamar Chase and with the 6th pick.
And we're on the same page with that. And here's where it gets interesting now, because you have 2 quarterbacks that just fell into your lap. If you're Detroit, because now what do? You
got Goff.
Is Goff your guy? You don't know what you have there, do you? So I mean, honestly, if I'm Detroit, I'm going to field phone calls because I have a lot of holes to fill. I think they would trade out of that spot.
And there's a lot of rumors that they want to trade back. They only have 6 draft picks. I think it's very possible that and look, too, you got to look at it, Coach. 2 of the big teams, too. And look, if the draft goes like we've stated, where you get to this 7 pick and Fields and Lance are there, now if you're one of those teams, a la the Patriots or those quarterback-hungry teams, these are the teams you're scared of because Panthers are possibly a quarterback, and so are the Broncos. And there's a lot of rumors about the Broncos taking a quarterback. So that 7 spot is where you're going to want to jump ahead to grab one of those guys. Who that team is, I don't know. But I'm going to go say the Lions either trade out to a team and that team takes a QB. But I think if the Lions hold on to this pick, I think they're going to go line. I think, they got Goff. I think it's Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern.
I disagree. I think if they hold on, they're going to have to replace Galladay, and they'll go with Waddle or one of the 2 Alabama receivers. I think that is, and I know you're trying to, I see what you're doing there. You're trying to keep those guys so that there's one of them there for the Eagles when you get to 13. I see how you're working that, man. I see.
That's what I'm hoping, baby. I like the shot. I know people say about his size, and I get it. But man, I would love to get Devontae Smith, and Stiz. I would say this: Stiz, Detroit is the dumpster fire of the NFC. The dumpster fire of the NFL is going to be the Houston Texans next year. And whenever that win total, me and Stiz have been talking about that for weeks. Whenever that Houston win total comes out, under. Just bet it, take it to the house, call Nevada Nick and say thank you for the money. It's a lock. Watson's going to get traded or suspended, and that team stinks. They couldn't get it. They offered Coach the job, and he wouldn't take it. So, trust me, the Texans are going to be terrible, horrible. Look, they won 4 games last year, and the over-under is 5.5. I mean, no way. So now, so you said, who do you got with the Lions? You said a receiver?
I have a receiver, either Waddle or what's the other kid's name?
Smith. I think they would go Waddle. So we'll say that. Now you get to the Panthers.
And I don't think they're going quarterback. Honestly, I think they're going to say, we got Sam Darnold on the cheap. Let's see what we can make out of him. I think I think that they would go offensive line to try to help him out and McCaffrey out. I think that's where you'll see the kid from Northwestern go right there. That's my pick.
Okay. No, I could see that. And I guess you bring Darnold in, and with what you gave him, you probably do give him some, give him an opportunity.
Or I could see them getting a receiver for Darnold too, because they lost Samuel.
Right, but you still have the guy from the Jets, Robbie Anderson.
Yes, you do.
That's a talent. I really think, and look, Rule's a smart guy. I would think, too, that he would go offensive line, whether it's Slater, but although I had him going to Detroit, maybe Darashaw from Virginia Tech. So I think he shores up that line.
Right.
And let's not forget, they lost Trey Turner. You got Russell Okung at right tackle. I think, but no, that's possible, too. You try to bring in a receiver to help Sam Darnold, obviously, because he, I'm sure Kilded Haggis knows he had no freaking help in New York. So, and what? I think they had a couple different offensive coordinators. So, okay, I'll go with you on that. But now at the 9 pick, I think Broncos are going QB. And if Lance I think they're going to go Lance. I really do. I think they go Trey Lance. I think the Drew Lock. Everybody was high on Drew Lock. And look, they're not a bad team. You got a good defense. You got Von Miller coming back. They have some nice weapons. You got Jerry Jeudy, who I know is young, but Stiz will tell you, year 3 with these rookie QBs, he's going into year 2. But they have some nice weapons in Denver. You got Noah Fant at tight end. Yep. They got Melvin Gordon at running back. I like the Broncos. If you get a good QB in there, and, I don't know if it's Lance, but I really like Lance's upside.
And they have
I know
a great offensive coordinator.
Right. I know he hasn't played many games, but you're talking about a kid who ran for 1,100 yards on top of having a great arm throwing the ball. I like Lance, and I think that's where the Broncos will go.
Okay. I'm
Well,
okay
you had
with
Lance
that.
going. What do you think, Justin Fields, or you think they go another position?
I was thinking no, I was thinking quarterback, but I just thought they would go with Fields over Lance. So
Okay. Well,
and
I really think Fields. There's a chance he could fall. The big one's going to be Detroit. If Detroit somebody doesn't trade and they stay and don't take, Fields
right,
may fall. Fields or Lance may fall. Because, like you said, if Carolina has Darnold and goes somebody else, then it's Denver. After that, it's either somebody moving up or they fall to 15.
right,
And that's a real possibility. So now we're at 10 with the Cowboys. And, there's been rumors that they're going to go up and get Pitts. But I think if that Jerry Jones should be stripped of all responsibilities if he trades up. Oh, Pitts is great, and he would fit into that offense. Don't get me wrong, but they desperately need defense.
Yes.
And I believe it's going to be Patrick Surtain the second out of
I
Alabama.
agree with that as well.
Okay.
I agree. And I don't understand any of the mock drafts because every single mock draft that I've seen has Waddle going here to the Giants.
We've been talking about makes zero sense.
It makes zero sense. So I'm gonna go with this is gonna be my pick. Micah Parsons, Penn State.
100%. And Coach, to me, why all these guys are taking receiver, and look, I get it. You want to make Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, take them to that next level. Well, then why'd you spend $72 million on Kenny Golladay? You have Saquon Barkley back there. You have Sterling Shepard. You have Darius Slayton. There's a lot of weapons there.
Yeah.
To me, if you don't go D, then go offensive line and get that interior. But if you do that, I would trade back to the late teens, early 20s and grab Tucker from USC to play interior line. I love Landon Dickinson in the second round at center. Love him out of Alabama. Think he is the caliber of guy of Quentin Nelson at Notre Dame. Maybe not as talented, but that dog that teammates are going to love. I'd love him. Love Landon Dickinson. But no, if I'm the Giants, I agree. I'm going and getting and adding that defensive playmaker. Maybe the best defensive player in the draft, impact-wise, I'm saying.
Right.
And I'm taking Mekhi Parsons. I agree 100% with you.
All right.
And then now, obviously, we'll get to my birds. And I think the pick's Devontae Smith. And I think Eagles fans, if this happens, you're happy. Because the guy who you probably wanted at 6, and when we all watched – I watched the championship game this year. Everybody was going nuts. The guy had 200 and some yards in 3 quarters. So I think if Smith falls to 12, it's a win for the Eagles. Now the way the Eagles are,
not a corner, not like Farley.
To me, Coach, you got Darius Slay
or Horn.
Yeah, no, that's a possibility, and it's the Eagles. I could look. I know Howie too. He knows if he takes Smith, fans will be happy, but they're still going to say, "Man, you drafted a corner in the first round after you drafted you drafted a receiver in the first round after you drafted a receiver in the first round last year and the second round prior." So that's you're going to heap a lot of criticism on yourself, but you got to do what's best for your team. And to me, you got to go see if Jalen Hurts is the guy. And then you go give him the pieces, and Devontae Smith is that piece. And I think the Eagles could be dangerous offensively this year. Laugh at me all you want. But that offensive line is going to be much improved. I mean, they had a lot of injuries. Now you get Dillard back. You get Lane Johnson back. You get Brandon Brooks, perennial Pro Bowl guard. The second highest paid guard in football and one of the best guards in football. I mean, look, you'll have a left tackle, either it be Dillard or Malatai. I really think that line can play good next year. And if Jalen Hurts plays well and you bring a guy like Smith in, I think this offense can be viable. And then it comes down to what does the defense do in this new defensive system. But, yeah, so I'm going to go Devontae Smith. Yeah, okay. Stiz just said 100 points. And, Kevin, I agree. He said, him being 166 pounds. That worries me too. But, man, the kid looks so explosive, and he's so fast. I do worry about him handling the bump and run coverage a little bit. But if you're a good offensive guy, look at Tyreek Hill. Move him around. Put him in good situations. Be creative offensively. So that's look, exactly. Thank you, Stiz. Stiz just took the words out of my mouth. Tyreek Hill. Move him around. Be creative with him. Get him on the move. Do what you need to do. And that's what they do with Hill all the time. They would bring him across the field, and then he would run all the way across, and, just be creative with him. So, I worry about his size, but I think he's so explosive. He can be huge in so many ways, and you saw it with Alabama, whether it's punt returner, wide receiver, whatever. And now, Coach, we're at 13 at the Chargers, and I think it's offensive line. I really do. You went and got Corey Lindsey, which I think was a great pickup for them at center. Obviously, they let Trey Turner go, and he's still out there, which kind of surprises me. That's somebody, if I was the Steelers, I'd be calling up. He was a perennial Pro Bowl guard in Carolina. But I think they will get one of those tackles.
I think Slater from Northwestern.
I had him going already, so I'll go with one of the other tackles. I think that's where and look, the Chargers are going to be dangerous. But I think they go tackle.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with that 100%. You want to protect your second-year quarterback with that, and then we go, what's the
Vikings.
next? Minnesota, the Vikings.
14 pass rusher, I think. I think it could be Jalen Phillips. And this is one of the positions that's really changed, Coach. And it shows you how much movement there is in the draft. A guy like Mac Jones, in a lot of mock drafts early on, was the highest he was going was 15. And now look, here he is at 3. Jalen Phillips was an end of the first round, top of the second round guy. And now here he is. A lot of people have him as the first defensive end coming off the board. Yep. And I think that will be the Minnesota. Obviously Zimmer knows he needs to get that defense playing well. Really struggled last year. I think they're going to want to get people to the passer. They brought in Ndakwe last year. It didn't work out. They trade him to the Ravens. They also lost. I'm forgetting his name. The guy, the DN who was there for years.
Griffin.
Yeah. So I really think you're going to see them take a defensive end.
I agree with that. I'm with that. And then of course, Bill would take a quarterback here, I guess. You got a guy who fell in your lap.
If one of those guys is there, I think you have to. Coach.
So
there. Yeah, and then after that, it's the Cardinals. And to me, with the Cardinals, a lot of people were talking defensive end for them possibly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I think, look, you just got J.J. Watt. You have Chandler Jones, who's a double-digit sack guy every year.
Right.
I go defense.
I
what
think
about corner?
I was thinking more.
You lose Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, I could see like Joe Horn or Farley going in this spot right here. I can see that.
That is Joe Horn's son, J.C. Horn.
Yes.
Joe Horn. Yeah, that's his son. Yes. So, no, that's possibly, or the kid that you brought up earlier, Farley, Caleb Farley, who would have been the number one corner coming into this year, but has some back issues. And that scares teams. I know with the Eagles years back, Sidney Jones was the number one guy, tears his Achilles, falls to the second round. The Eagles draft him. It doesn't work out. But then you got a guy like Jalen Smith, who would have been the number one linebacker. He falls. Cowboys take him, and it works. So it's a risk-reward type situation. Sometimes you really hit, and then sometimes it doesn't hit. Mm-hmm. So, I like I said, I really see them. I think that the Cardinals go corner. I think offensively you feel real good going into the season. Obviously, the Cardinals. You bring in AJ Green, you bring in James Conner. You got Kyler Murray. I really think you could see Zach Ertz possibly get traded to the Cardinals this weekend. We've been waiting for that to happen as Eagles fans. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen that Ertz trade yet. But yeah, I think Cardinals go defense. And like I said, I think corner is the pick. And then, obviously, next pick.
The Raiders.
And look, if the Raiders go anything but defense, I would fire Mayock and Gruden right there. And I think it's one of two positions. I think they shored up their defensive line nice. To me, it's Trayvon Monik from TCU, the safety.
Okay.
But it's somebody in the secondary.
I see. I didn't. I have them drafting the linebacker from Notre Dame. I think a lot of
Jeremiah
people are
Karamoa.
Yeah.
He seems to be slipping. Zaven Collins is moving up. Jamin Davis is moving up out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could see corner, but I think it's secondary or maybe linebacker. But I think it's going to be Monig or one of those corners if they're there.
Okay.
Meaning, I don't think Sertan would be there, but Farley or Horn, if one of those guys is there. Right. If not, I think
you had Sertan going to Dallas. So
no, I said. I said if they're there, one of those three corners, if they're there. If not, Monig out of TCU, the safety, or I think that you might be looking at a linebacker or playmaker type to go into that Raiders defense.
Yep, and then we're back to the Dolphins here, who I think they go offensive line here,
100%,
which is Dershaw from Virginia Tech, or maybe even Jenkins from Oklahoma State. One of those two guys right in that spot there.
Yeah, no, I agree, and a lot of people like Dylan Radus or whatever, from North Dakota State too. So there's some tackles there, and look, there's a lot of talent too. Ton of receiver talent in this draft. Ton of tackle talent in this draft. So that's why, like I said, with the Eagles, maybe you might see these Eagles, these Dolphins go a guy in this round to get a guy later in the second round. Because I love Bateman out of Minnesota. I think he's a stud. There's some talent there in the second round. And then obviously, we said Dolphins go offensive line. Next is the Washington football team. And I'll tell you, I could see them maybe going running back, possibly.
Yeah, because they need a running back, but it's tough here.
The defense is stacked.
Yeah,
I think you're bringing something in on that offense to make that offense better.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a receiver. I'm seeing like the kid from Florida. I'm seeing a couple of different, but I could see a running back going there. I could see the kid from Alabama, Najee Harris, going there at that spot. Right. That's not a bad pick for them. And then you get to the Bears, and I think the Bears. It's got to be offensive line help. I think this is the run where I see the offensive linemen come off the board. Jenkins, Dershaw,
and defensive linemen. This is where you're going to see the run of offense and defensive linemen. We don't need to go through all of them because obviously the Ravens have 2 picks in there. I think the Ravens. This is where I think the Ravens. You will see take Elijah Moore, possibly out of Ole Miss. I really like him. I think the Packers may take a receiver, but you could see a lot. I think you'll see in the end of the draft here, that 20 to 32, you're going to see some receivers in Elijah Moore and Bateman go. A lot because Coach, one team we talked about was you had mentioned obviously the Green Bay Packers and how they better get defense. And there's a lot of drafts that have them taking a receiver.
Yeah, but I still think they're gonna have to find a some help on defense. I just think that that's been their issue. I mean, it's not your quarterback's putting up numbers now. Regardless, I know he threw 3 picks in the NFC Championship game, but I mean, you have a MVP quarterback year in and year out, and I really think you need to really work on that defense and really get you over the hump. Because there was times in that game though where they just couldn't get a stop to get off the field. There was some 3rd and longs where, okay, stop them, get off the field, and we can stay in this game, and it didn't happen. So I still think it's defense.
Yeah, no, and look, there's a bunch of teams too with a second pick in these last 12 picks. The Jets have a second pick. The Ravens have a second pick, and is there another team? I'm looking, sorry. No, I think that's the Jaguars have a second pick. So that'll be interesting. Another team too, the Bills are in there, and with them,
they're another one. I think
running back. I think they need a running back too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think they need running
backs.
Yeah. And if I was them, I like Harris. I really do. But to me, I like the versatility of Etienne. The fact that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Not that Harris can't, but Etienne catches the ball a little bit better out of the backfield. And I like that versatility in a running back.
Yeah, and one more going back to Tennessee. I think their pick is defense as well. I don't think their offensive side of the ball pick. They need because remember they could not stop the run.
Yeah. No, and their offense was really good last year. It's just the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed,
Right.
And a lot of those teams, too, Coach, when you're talking about playoffs, it's like I know people say, "Oh, be good," be true to your board. But to me, I really think you get to these teams, and perfect example is Tennessee, where you need defense. Chicago needs offense.
Right.
Ravens need a playmaker. Yeah, it's great when you're the Bucks and you're the Chiefs, and you can say we're just going for depth, or for if you're looking at a team like the Bucks and saying, well, this guy's getting older, or we know this guy's a free agent next year and could leave, much like the Eagles did when they knew Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor were leaving and drafted Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown, which Eagles fans were in an uproar because we had 2 Pro Bowl corners and we took 2 corners in the first 2 rounds. But you look, the Eagles are very talented then. So those teams have that luxury. Can I
throw this out there? Can I just throw this out here?
Yeah.
Is it me or does Julius Randle and the quarterback for Baltimore, is he playing basketball? Is Lamar Jackson playing basketball for the Knicks and using Julius Randle as the as his surname for playing basketball? I don't know. They look alike to me. Maybe it's the hairdo. Maybe it's just the hairdo, but they look similar to me. So.
Well, your Knicks last night, Coach, it did end.
They couldn't get to 10. They couldn't get to the double digits, man.
And they had a nice lead too. They really
15-point lead. I watched most of that game. They had a 15-point lead and just wound up blowing it.
The amazing thing to me, Coach, about the Knicks, forget about look, nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs, but look, they got a better record than
they're
the Celtics.
4 seed now.
Yeah, they got a better record than the Celtics and the Heat. The Heat were in the NBA Finals last year. I mean, it's amazing. They are a 4 seed, and I think they have a legitimate shot at making the second round of playoffs.
Right.
Like I said, and usually you'd have thought it would have been playoffs. Look.
But look, honestly, I said this, the Knicks needed to make the playoffs and make a little noise, meaning push whatever team in the I wasn't expecting them to win a first round playoff, but at least push it to 5 games or whatever.
Right.
And to helpfully maybe pull a free agent in, because the Knicks need, I think, a legit 3-point guy. They don't have that.
Well, they need a legit player. They need somebody who's going to get a max contract.
Listen,
now going to New York.
Julius Randle has come out of nowhere and has been a stud. Okay,
and that's one thing, Coach, that happens in the NBA. These kids come in at 19 years old, and they put all this pressure on them. Let them grow. You trying to tell me the Lakers don't regret now giving up on Julius Randle? I'll tell you, he looks.
Thanks, Stiz. Thank you, Stiz.
Leave it alone.
Stiz,
come on, he makes one call all year, and now the guy's not going to shut up about it. But no, it was a great call. And look, the Knicks, like I said, to me, Thibodeau needs to be in contention for Coach of the Year. Yeah. I think with the Phoenix Suns head coach, Quinn Snyder will get some consideration with the Jazz. And I think Doc Rivers deserves some consideration with the Sixers. I mean, everybody had the Sixers as a 4 or 5 seed this year. And, they're right now.
I don't buy that. Come on. Wait a second. You take over a playoff team and you make it to the playoffs, you should be in contention for Coach of the Year. Come on.
You take over a team that got swept in the first round.
So what? I don't care.
So what? Coach, when's the last time you watched a basketball game?
Last night. I watched the Knicks Suns game last night.
Yeah,
I did too. Listen, Listen, let me tell you
Playing
something.
NBA Live on your PlayStation, Coach, doesn't count as watching a
A,
basketball
I
game.
do not even own a PlayStation.
Okay.
B,
Xbox.
okay,
Sorry.
I don't own an Xbox either.
Yeah.
I have a broken leg. I have to sit in. I've been sitting in bed for hours upon hours. I watch a lot of TV
because you don't want to watch your Yankees who suck right now. Can't beat the Orioles.
The NBA game on the NBA channel was the Knicks last night, so I watched the Knicks game. So and the Yankees, of course, crap in the bed. They got on this. They got everybody excited. They got that 3-game win streak, and then all of a sudden they start crap in the bed again.
Does that make sense? Coach is probably playing on Atari. It probably is what he has.
That's right.
Old bastard.
Yep, playing some Pong and some Pac-Man, buddy. Yeah.
And Stiz, next time Coach sees you, he would really be honored if you would sign his cast to get the autograph of the infamous Stiz,
absolutely,
the fantasy champ,
cornhole
champ, prop champ.
Let me see if I can. Can you see the cast?
I see your plug in the wall. We don't see your cast. There it is.
So, but anyway, see the OPH rocks.
Yeah.
If you saw that. Okay, so let me tell you the story. I'm out with my daughter. We're out, doing some daddy-daughter date night, and or it was during the day, and we were looking for a place to eat. Original House of Pancakes. So I was like, "Let's go, man! I've been there for a long time." So
which was not IHOP. It's
it's called the Original House of Pancakes. Totally different.
OHOP.
No, it's called Original House of Pancakes.
Well, Original House of Pancakes. OHOP.
OHP. There's
Original House. Well, is it?
OHOP. Okay, so it's OHOP, whatever. So anyway, the waitress, when she comes up,
Coach is so cheap he won't go to IHOP. He's got to go to OHOP.
Listen, hands down, I'm plugging them before IHOP. Okay. So listen, when you get your ass down to South Florida, I'll take you there. You can be the judge. Okay.
Poor Stiz is still waiting for his cookies.
I know. That's why I have a broken leg, man. I mean, that's how it rolls.
That's what probably happened. Stiz,
I got free pancakes for the autograph.
He loosened that ladder so you can fall off.
Yes. I got free pancakes for the autograph in my cast.
Really?
Hey, do what you got to do for free pancakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. We all know that.
That's right. That's right. Chicken and waffles were banging. We're banging. So
I've never had chicken and waffles. You like it?
Oh, I love it, man. It's the fucking bomb.
Do you mix them together?
My friends. Yeah. Hello.
With syrup too?
Yeah, with syrup. Yeah. Oh man, you haven't lived till you had chicken and waffles, buddy. Oh man,
yeah, I've never had it. I really haven't.
Oh man, I got to get you down and.
You don't wear Nikes, you wear Psyches or Psyches.
Hey, just because they fell off the back of a truck, man. Come on now.
Oh, so. Coach still has his Zubaz from the 80s. He wears.
That's right. I absolutely do, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Listen, we appreciate everyone trying to check us out. Join us Thursday night for the draft as we go. And we'll go through the draft on Thursday night. We'll probably fire things up about quarter of draft just to let us, talk a little bit, and then we'll get into the draft. So. All right, guys, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you share it. We appreciate everything you're doing. Like the page, tell your friends. Have a great day. See you guys Thursday.